Why did you homeschool?
Well, the reason that I chose to homeschool was at several reasons. First, my children started out in public school, and I just didn't. This is not to bash public schools or anything like that. This is just my personal experience and why I chose to homeschool. I feel like they weren't getting the adequate education um, for them to progress. I feel like in the public school, and then I eventually put them in charter school, and I feel like I was getting the same kind of uh, end result, and it wasn't a good one. First of all children learn differently, and in school, they have a system in which they have to follow, and if your child doesn't fit into that system, most of the time they get left behind, and they they might need that added extra attention, and you got tutoring, you got things like that, which I don't want to go into as far as public school. I just want to kind of keep this brief and on subject with homeschooling. The number one reason why I chose to homeschool is because I just got kind of fed up with the results I was getting when my kids were in the public school. One of the principals that I spoke to, we didn't agree on a lot of things about educating my children. And she wanted to leave both of my sons back. I have three children, 5, 10, and 12. And I've been homeschooling for almost 3 years, I believe now. No, a little bit more than 3 years, maybe like 4.
About 4.
About 4 years. And she was saying that she wanted to leave my oldest son back because she said that he wasn't reading on the proper reading level, and but his math, and she said his math wasn't good either. And I said that's impossible, because me and their father, we was still working with them even though they were in school, and he was really working with our oldest son, and he was learning like a lot of different things, like the planets and how far they are from the sun and the distance, and a lot of different things about the solar system and the presidents, and he was learning a lot of different things at home. And I was like, well, if we can teach him all these things at home, then how are you going to tell me that my son, is not learning properly or adequately on the level they feel that he should be on? So I questioned her authority. I questioned her education system, and she didn't really like that. As far as his reading, I do understand he needed some more help with reading. He did understand how to read. I know that he needed more focus, attention on his reading, but his math, I said, you absolutely got to be insane to think that you're going to help hold my child back because you feel like his reading is not on the proper level, and then you're saying that his math is not on the proper level. So it didn't end with that. It ended with him taking the test that they have, and he scored on his math. He scored on, I think he was the top of the school, entire school. He was number 1 in math, and she told me that he wasn't doing well in math either. And in reading, I think he scored just average. So I said, you hold him back because of that. He is going to lose his motivation, and I don't want him to lose his motivation. Kids already don't like school in general, and I know, my boys didn't think school was like this, something that, motivated them, and I didn't want him to lose a little bit of motivation they had, and I was just like, this is just not working. You're not going to leave my child back because of that, especially when you have a child that's already really good at one subject, and then you hold him back, so that means he has to repeat the math, and then he gets bored with the math, and then he'll start falling behind on the math, and then he's already have to repeat because of the reading, and it's just it leaves them in a situation where the motivation decreases. So we both spoke to the principal. She didn't like me mostly. I don't know, because I guess it's not that my convictions were stronger than their father's, because his conviction was just as strong, but I guess the way he spoke to her, and I guess the female-male relationship is kind of different from the female-female relationship when you're speaking education when you're trying to educate your children. So those was one of the main reasons we decided that we wanted to homeschool our children, because you're not going to leave my child behind because you feel like that, you know, he didn't meet your standard, your system. That means you failed the child, not that my child failed him herself. You failed the child. You failed to educate my child, because that's your job. We put them in their school so you can educate them. So we decided to take it out of their hands and educate our children the way we want them educated. Another reason was because I went to school. And like I said, this video is not to bash public schools or anything like that, because I went to school, I went to college, I have a degree. And most of the things that I learned in school, I can't really remember how it relates to life. You know, and I'm not saying all things. This is, like I said, this is my personal opinion of why I decided to homeschool, and why, you know, my hubby and I decided to homeschool. It's because, you know, I felt like we can educate them just as well as any other person that don't love them like we love them. We're going to make sure that they understand the concepts. We're going to make sure that they understand, you know, the consequences of things. We're going to take our time with them, because we're not on a timeline. You know, we're not getting paid. We're not on a timeline. We don't have to subside to anybody's dogmatic system. We don't have to do that. So I felt like it was a good choice for us. And I don't regret it. My hubby don't regret the fact that, you know, we decided to homeschool.
No, I don't.
And I always ask them as well, do y'all want to go back to public school? Just to get their opinion. And they said no, never. So they're happy being homeschooled. And I know one of the other reasons is that most people say, well, you know, we have to work, and we have to, what about their socialization skills? And that's a different video. But believe me, when you don't make excuses when you're trying to seek answers, when you want your children to be educated and you want to help them and you love them, then you're going to do whatever it takes in your power to make sure that you get your income and you get them educated. Because the purpose of getting them educated is so that they don't have to go through the same situations you have to go through. So, on that note, if you want to hear more about my homeschooling, and me and my hubby homeschooling our children, and how we do it in Virginia and how we do it in New York, I'll do 2 separate videos for that. Subscribe, and please like the video, and please share with others. Thank you. Appreciate it.